Okay, hi Eve. Thanks ever so much for
Hi, Kim. Hi.
agreeing to talk to me. It's so lovely to see you.
Good
Um,
to see you too.
so, just to start with, why don't you tell us about your initial interaction with Homestart?
Yeah. So in 2015, I had my second daughter. I already had Noella, who was 4 years old, and she has severe autism and other learning difficulties. So Alba, my second daughter, was born, and Noella really, really struggled to cope with this new baby, and why she was nonverbal, so she didn't understand why the new baby was there, why she cried all the time. Um, so she was having frequent meltdowns, violent meltdowns, smashing up the house, attacking me. She was also a poo smearer, so that was another big element of what I was dealing with on a daily basis. And the baby as well, but she had some tummy trouble when she was little, so she used to vomit a lot. So she was either puking or crying, and that was her all day long. So I had a special needs health visitor for Noella anyway, and then she was involved with Alba. And I had never ever heard of Homestart before, and she said to me, in the midst of all this chaos, when every day was just such a battle, she said, I think that you should get a Homestart volunteer. And she told me a little bit about the service, that it's a volunteer that comes into your house once a week for a few hours to help you however you need help. Um, and I said, yeah, sure, sign me up. But that, you could have signed me up to anything at that point. I would have taken any help that was going. So Jane made the call to Homestart, and it was all really quick. I had the processes. You have the coordinator, family coordinator, comes out to meet you and the family and to really get to know your situation and what it is that you're struggling with. Um, and then they go away and they match you with a volunteer that fits your needs, that's a good personal match and has the right experience to help you. So then she matched me with Julie, and we had our match visits. So Julie and Natalie came to the house, and we all got along fine. Julie was introduced to the children and myself, and then we went from there. So Julie would visit me once a week in my home, and she'd really just play with the baby, and while I could go and be with Noella, who was struggling so much, or I'd go and do housework or have a shower or whatever it was that I can't do when I've not got another pair of hands there.
Mm.
So that was in 2015, and the support led on to 2016, and support ended when, as Alba got older. She diagnosed with a dairy allergy, which helped with the vomiting. And as Alba's got older, and still now, it continues to get easier with the girls. So fast forward a bit to 2018, and I became a volunteer with Homestart, because my elder child started a school for a little while, and I had some spare time. So me and my husband were discussing me going to work, maybe part-time somewhere, and I said, well, I really want to go and help at Homestart first for a year or something before I get back into work, because if I don't do it now, then you just get caught up with work, don't you? You would never do it again. So so I started volunteering just in the office. Though I've worked in lots of offices before, and I actually missed the date for the family training when I had inquired. So I said, oh, it's fine, just put me in the office. So I helped them in the office once a week on a Monday, and that was as a mum who'd been stuck in the house, we for weeks on end sometimes, not speaking to adults and not having that interaction. Even that Monday, going into the office and like just helping with bits and bobs in the office, making tea for people, was so nice to speak to adults and be around all this adult conversation. It's so important for to say mums, but all parents, to be able to get that adult interaction, to make them feel like an adult themselves. So that was Homestart, continuing to benefit me personally. Through helping them, I was helping myself build my self-esteem, get back into a sort of work scenario. I'd not been in work or university or anything for 6 years at that point. And then a job came up I wasn't looking for work. I really did want to volunteer just for like a year or something like that. And a job came up, and the boss showed me the job, and the advert was it was for an income generation coordinator, and it said full time. And I was like, I can't work full time. There's no way. Like, I can probably work now, but and commit to something, but there's no way with two small kids I'm going to be able to commit to like a 37-hour week. And she said, no, it's fine. We could be flexible with it. So I applied, and a bit of time went on, and the job became a job share with another lady. So then it was perfect, because it was only like 16 hours a week, job shared, and the other lady did a bit more than I did, hour wise, because her kids are older. But yeah, so then that was 20, yes, end of 2018. So I've been working with Homestart now as a volunteer and then employee for about just over 2 years. Yeah, so that's how I came to become Homestart, and they've been so super, because they've known my story right from the beginning. They're so flexible. They're flexible anyway, but and that's what more workplaces need to be for parents, especially female, especially moms. They need that flexibility. But even dads now, with working from home, it's now more possible, post-COVID times, for dads to be involved with school runs and things like this.
Yeah, and dads want that, don't they?
And dads want that, yeah. Yeah, so that's how I became involved with Homestart.
Amazing. And I mean, one of the things a lot of the mums say to me is just how do you manage working? And I mean, it's just very different at the moment, I guess, because of obviously COVID. But can you tell us a little bit more about your personal circumstances, if you don't mind, sort of leading up to having the children and all that?
Yeah, sure. So leading up to having the children, so I had started at university. I was had done my first year, and in second year became pregnant with Noella. So continued to go to university. And in Scotland it's a 4-year degree, not 3 years like down here. So, and I had her in the May, so right at the end of the academic second year. So technically in the middle of uni I still had 2 more years to go. And during that time, a lot of people were supportive either about me being at uni or supportive about me being pregnant, but they were never supportive about the two things together. They just didn't marry up for people. I include my family and some friends in this. People would say to me, you can't go to uni and have a baby. You can't have a baby and go to uni. How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? There was never, you can do this. There's support out there. There was no... there wasn't a lot of positivity around the two things, although people were very happy that I was doing my university and people were very happy that I was having a baby. So, but I did it, I managed it, and I think it was because people were so negative about the two things. I went back to uni. Noella was 3 months old, so I was still breastfeeding and juggling that. She went to a nursery that was near my flat in Edinburgh. And my university, and it won't be the same for all of them, but they had a fund that single parents could access for childcare so that they can attend university. So, but nobody told me any of this. I had to find out, and it almost feels, and this is a pattern throughout having my children, is nobody tells you that there's these things available, whether they're monetary help or just emotional support. Nobody, until there's some chance moment that you find out. So it was through going to student finance at university to ask about something else. I think maybe like council, I don't know what it was about, and I spoke to a lady and she said, oh, you should apply. She said, are you a single parent? And I said, yes. And she said, you should apply for the childcare fund. And I had never, but I think I've been at uni for a while then, and I've never, you've got to go searching for the specific support that you need.
Because there is quite a lot of support, isn't there?
Yeah, I never knew. I mean, in total, the amount of support I had from that childcare fund was over £10,000
Wow.
in childcare. Yeah, for Noella's nursery, and it was a good nursery as well. So yeah, I would never have been able to afford that childcare and continue my degree. And also that same late, there's a thing at university called the discretionary fund as well. Again, nobody told me about this. So that lady who suggested that I apply for the childcare fund, she, without even asking me, put me on a repeat register to receive that discretionary fund, which was £1,000 per term.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I was really lucky to meet that lady. And I remember sending her a thank you card with pictures of Noella in it. But yeah, there's funds out there for you to, and it'll be the same for getting into work, getting help for getting into work, getting training for work. There are things available out there, but you've got to keep asking questions. You've got to keep thinking who's the right person to ask. So, and I mean, you know, I'm talking about that was a face-to-face meeting and a conversation. And nowadays, post-COVID, it will be send those emails, you know, have a look online, have those Zoom calls, all these things that we've got to do now in our new normal of life. So yeah, I was lucky to have that lady and other things crop up so that I could finish my university and juggle having a baby as a single parent with Noella. And then she went on to become, so I graduated and I got a graduate job in an insurance broker's that was quite close to her nursery and close to my flat. And at that point I'd met my future husband as well. So I graduated, started working full time, and then 3 months into my graduate work, she was diagnosed with autism, and they were like, you know, this is a serious case and this is a lifelong thing, and your life is, you know, it was very clear that life was going to change big time. So that was September 2013, so she just turned 2. So I continued to work for full time for a little while, but in Scotland, when a paediatrician has said that a child is likely to have autism, all the support starts. So your speech therapy, your occupational therapy, paediatric appointments, play therapy, all these things start. In England, it's different. You actually have to wait for your diagnosis, which can take up to a year, I think, sometimes longer. So then I suddenly was faced with these appointments, multiple appointments in a week, where I had to take Noella to nursery, go to work, come out of work, take her to the appointment, put her back in nursery, go back to work, and then work all my lunch hours to make up the time. And the nursery closed at, you know, like not long after my working day ended, so I couldn't stay late either. I had to work my lunch hours. And then that was eating into more and more time. And then the other side of that was Noella was quite distressed and confused as to why I was picking her up. She'd be so happy that I picked her up, took her to an appointment, and then putting her back in was awful because she was just like, no, you know, in her head, she's thinking, no, I'm going home, I've been picked up. So that was distressing for her. So I did that for a little while, and then it became really clear that that was not the way that life was going to go. So I left my job, and me and Sam decided, also we were very central in Edinburgh, so it was very busy, lots of busy roads, and she had no awareness of danger. So we knew that we needed to live somewhere a bit safer, a bit more rural. So both of our sets of parents live rurally. Mine are in Aberdeenshire and Sam's are in Framlingham here in Suffolk. And there was no way I was going to Aberdeenshire. So and Framlingham's beautiful, you know, and every time we visited it's like 25 degrees. So so yeah, we decided to move down here. And that was definitely the best move for Noella and for us as a family. We loved our family life here, being outside in the sunshine for at least 6 months of the year. It's great. But it did mean that there wasn't a lot of extra help around, the kind of help that my parents could have provided, and my family could have provided, wasn't really available to us here. I think I had different ideas in my head for pre-moving that didn't come to fruition. Like, they just didn't appear, that kind of help that I imagined would be here. So that's why. So that's me taking you to the time where, around the time I got pregnant with Alba, and then had Alba, and then Home Start stepped in to be my weekly help, and then go on to be so much more for me, to become my long-term job, and everything else it's built for me. So that's the two things that I would take from that, from being a single parent at university, is use any negativity, or not negativity, but any sort of the unsupportiveness of anyone around you, use that as your motivation. And also the second thing would be, just keep asking. Know that there must be help out there for whatever your specific parental problem is, or for yourself, getting back into training, getting back into work. When you're at that stage and you're ready to think about that, and you think about what direction you're going in, there must be someone out there with advice, with help, with funds, with help for training, with whatever it is that you need. But you have to ask. Unfortunately, that people don't tell you things, and then suddenly you think, oh, that's available to me. So yeah.
Because I remember you said before that you had to do that with your children. You had to keep pushing to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially, I mean, that with education, really. With my eldest child, so she is 9.5, and in that, so she should have been in school from age 4, so call that 5.5 years. In that 5.5 years, she should have been in full-time education. She's had 4 months of full-time education, roughly 6 months of part-time. We've just started school number 6, school attempt, I should say, school attempt number 6. At a school, we've had to go across county into Essex, because we've exhausted our options in Suffolk. Not that there were really any options in Suffolk. And that's taken all that time, but I'm really happy to say that she's just settled very, very slowly. We started at 2-hour sessions in September. We're now at, I thought it was going to take a year to get to 4 or 5 day 4-hour sessions. We're now at 4 days, all 3 or 4-hour sessions. So I'm so pleased. We've found the right place, but it's taken 5.5 years, and it's taken, oh God, so many meetings, so many breakdowns in meetings, so many emails and complaints. And I mean, there's still a massive complaint in me brewing about the whole 5.5 years, and every step that we were taking to. That's such a big fight. I'm not sure I have it in me at the moment, even time-wise, to do that. But yeah, I'm pleased to report that she's now in a place that's just fantastic for her needs. It's autism specific. But yeah, that was a fight. Oh my God, yeah, a real fight.
Throughout all of that, you've worked, and I just wonder what motivates you to do that, rather than just go, oh, I've got too much on. I mean, you've got 2 children with special needs, and you always look amazing, and you've got, that's what I think the girls, when you came in to speak to them last time, were like, oh, she's really lovely, and she's working, and she's got all of this going on. What's kind of kept you going through it all? I know now is different again, because you're fitting in work at home and stuff.
Yeah, now is different. So yeah, my roles, I'm completely work from home now, as most people are. I think it was, I am a social person, so feeling so isolated during that time when I couldn't get out, literally couldn't get out of the house. You couldn't walk to the shops with Noella, you couldn't walk down the street with her, nothing like that. you know, there was only a few safe places that we could go, and even then I couldn't really go because Noella wouldn't get in the same car as Alba for the first 2 years or something. She wasn't in the same room as Alba. She would walk through a room to get to the garden or something, but for like 3 years, like, so you couldn't get. So I was so penned into the house. Luckily, I've got my own house and I've got a big garden, so it wasn't, really tragic. But I felt so penned in, and unable to socialise, unable to, get out and about. I think in the beginning, especially, that was my drive. And having that little snippet on a Monday when I'd volunteer in the Home Start office, which is full of women, and well, we had one man at the time, and there's lots of visitors coming in and out, and there's always somebody's got a birthday, so there's somebody's got cake, and we all sit down and have a cup of tea, and just such a social wee place. So having that wee snippet on a Monday was just brilliant. I just loved it, So I think that was my motivation. In the start it wasn't so much about contributing money to the household. So that's a very privileged position to be in. You're going to work to not, and it doesn't matter about contributing. My husband had a good job, and anyway, and I get a carer's allowance anyway with my children and DLA and things like that. It really was about my mental well-being, and being able to be around other adults and have these conversations. And that grew, as I then went from volunteering to working. And when I was volunteering, you feel like, because Home Start are supporting families who really, sorry, my guinea pigs are jumping, that's what I keep looking at. You feel like you're contributing to society as well as doing a job, contribute. And because I had received Home Start's help before, I really could, I knew the difference it made, I know personally the difference it made. Oh, do you know what? I feel a little bit teary because I've got a little tinge of something coming on there. That made me feel a bit emotional. Yeah, so I know the difference it can make. So the hours that I put in, whether they were volunteering or now it's my job, they're important, because predominantly now it's fundraising and marketing is my kind of role, supporting Alison, who's the fundraising manager. So you feel like you're doing something. So my motivations have changed. And now, so my personal situation's changed again. So me and my husband are still very, very good friends, but we did separate in December 2019. So we've been used lockdown he's got a new house and he's been making it a home for the girls, so that we have two homes very close by, literally 2 minutes drive away from each other. So now my work is more about, what have I done to my hair? Now my work is more, I'm a single parent now, so it's contributing to my household in a different way, as well as all the other things that I used to get from it. So my situation's now changed. But yeah, that would be my motivation in the and what you said about, you always look great. I do always have my makeup on, but my motivation, one of the things, I've always loved makeup, right? And I've been a hair and makeup girl. My girls, Alba's the same. That's always been my thing. So see, when times were really difficult, when I had this screaming baby and this meltdown child, and even if I'd not like properly washed for days and there's poo up the walls and puke up the walls, if I can just put my makeup on, I just feel like, okay, winning, like I've won something, like, at least you've got your makeup on. It's a bit like it really is like war paint to me. Like, now it's okay. I just need to make sure I'm up early enough to, to get ready, get the girls ready, and get myself ready. But back then it really felt to me like, do you know what? Just stay strong, get your makeup on, and just, scrape the shit off the walls. Like, you can face anything. At least you don't look in the mirror and you've not got your makeup on. Yeah. But it's funny, it works both ways, because I've always got makeup on in the morning because that's just my thing. when I don't have it on the school run, like the teachers and the mums will say, "Are you okay?" Because if I'm really sick,
Are you sure you're all right?
"Are you okay? You alright?
Important to have
Definitely
those
okay."
yeah. No, it's important to have those things that are
That, yeah, little things, routines, especially morning routines as well, that set you up for the day,
yeah.
are really, really important for your mental health, and that's just part of my little morning.
Amazing. Thank you, E.
Yeah, no problem. It was nice to talk to you. Yeah, nice to talk to you, and I'm interested, once the classes are up and going, I really like to come back again and meet the ladies that come along.